two naughty bombs. The Ill-Town party rhyme fake. Using them last few years as my evidence. Trying to duplicate the mixture ever since. You are, no matter where you go, there you are. There you are. Roll, smash, break, dash, roll.
What's the deal? It's your boy I meant what he said. You know where I'm at. You know what it is, man. Power 105 DJ Rainbow, my boy not here with me right now. And I know he mad because he's a big fan of this group right here. You know what I'm saying? But we all got to work, do what we got to do. So I'm in the building right now with, I guess, 3/4 of the group.
1/3.
1/3. That's just 1/3.
Yeah. The math right.
1/3.
Yeah.
1/3. I was drinking 1/3 of the world-renowned Naughty by Nature. My man Vin in the building. What's up, baby? How you doing,
sir.
man?
How you doing?
Thank you for coming and hanging out with me today, man.
Yeah, no
Trying to get
problem.
you for like a year, man.
Word? Nah, you know I'm not
Curving
that
me like I
hard
was
to
trying to
find.
borrow money, man. What's going on, man?
You know, man. And I hang out with Ramo. We just did the Canelo fight, the last one.
Yeah, I
at
know. He
Madison
told me.
Square
He was like,
Garden.
yo, I'm coming up for the joint. You know?
Yeah. And you know, you always look out for me, so I'm always a call away.
It's all great. It's all great. So listen, man. I guess the first question, and it's always the question, is how'd you guys become Naughty by Nature? Like what? How did Vin Rock? Because I hear sometimes Stretch will be like, "Oh, I'm the last man up," or something. He'll say it in the show, like he says that, and I noticed that a couple of times, and I watched y'all perform, and he was like, "Yeah, you know," and I'm the third man to the group. So was Naughty by Nature like already a group before he came, or it was?
Nah.
How did that all come about? Because I heard it happened in high school.
Yeah, it all happened in high school. I used to break dance. And was in a crew with Terry Peppers. That's actually Jabril Peppers' father. So Jabril Peppers just got traded from the Cleveland Browns to the New York Giants. They traded him for Odell Beckham. So our nephew is coming to the Giants. A lot of people were upset, but we're happy. You know what I mean? But his father, Terry Peppers, I used to break dance with him, and I also used to beatbox. But KG and Terry live right across the street from each other on 18th Street in East Orange. So after I finished breakdancing, I would always hear KG scratching on his sun porch in his house. So I would go over there and beatbox for him. Then in 10th grade, well, I was 15 years old. Treach used to be in my health class. He used to come with me to me with a new rhyme every other day, and I beatbox for him. So back on the block, I'd be like, "Yo, Kay, it's this kid in my health class. He comes to me all the time with a new rhyme. Got to bring him over." So brought him over, and basically that was the beginning of the new style at the time. So we didn't even have a name for our group. So we were all in the same high school, did a talent show. We just did a routine, didn't even have a name, but we used the Beastie Boys, "It's the New Style," to start the show off. So once we killed it, we were like, yo, we should use New Style. And that's what we used for our first group, the New Style.
The New Style.
Yeah. So then after that, we signed to Sugar Hill Records, got with Queen Latifah and them, got away from Sugar Hill, and we had to switch the name. So switched the name to Naughty by Nature, and the rest
How'd
is
the name
history.
come about? Like, how'd y'all come up with that name?
Well, the name Naughty by Nature was actually the title of a song, a New Style song. So our first group, it was in high school, we just started flipping through lyrics and all of that. Treach looked in his book and was like, yo, Naughty by Nature. That was the title of a New Style song. The song was called Naughty by Nature. And we were like, bet. But Flavor Unit thought that the name was too long at first. And this is how far we go back. Back then, Queen Latifah and Shakim started Flavor Unit Management. But Shakim had two partners with him. One was the infamous Jimmy Henchman that you hear about, the Tupac and the beef with 50 and all of these guys, and Chris Lighty from the Violators. So rest in peace, Chris Lighty.
Yeah, wow.
So
Lighty,
we actually had Shakim from Flavor Unit, Chris Lighty, and Jimmy Henchman on our team when we first started as Naughty by Nature. This was like 1990.
Woo. So, what? I hate even talking about this stuff, but I always got to ask because then people be like, don't ask. So you guys, first of all, you had 7 records, right? Or is it more?
What, 7 albums?
Yeah. Is it more than 7 albums I got?
About 5, 6. I lose count. We did 3 on Tommy Boy, 1 on Arista. Then we did 1 without KG, which was the 5th one on TVT. Then when we got back with him, we did 1 on E1, Anthem Inc. 6 of them.
So 6 albums, okay.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite one?
I would say the first one because that set off everything. You know, the self-titled album, Naughty by Nature. The single was OPP. Second single was Everything Gonna Be Alright, a.k.a. Ghetto Bastard. And then the third single that got added to that album was Uptown Anthem.
Yeah, the Uptown Anthem was crazy.
Yeah, and that was off the Juice soundtrack,
Yeah.
but it got added to our first album, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that album. What was my other joint that I liked? You had OPP, Hip Hop Hooray.
Hip Hop Hooray, yeah. That was the first single off the second album. So imagine doing OPP, Everything's Gonna Be Alright, Uptown Anthem, then coming back and your first single off your second album is Hip Hop Hooray. So I think that kind of solidified us in the game. Like, we kind of knew what we were doing.
I was a little kid. I think I was like 6 or 7 when I tried to get in that movie, Who's the Man?
Yeah. With Ed Lover
Yeah,
and
Ed
Dr.
Lover,
Dre and
Dr.
all of
Dre.
them, yeah.
That was like, I don't know. I look at that movie, it was funny. It really wasn't like a movie. It just like, they seemed like they cramped all of these hip hop artists in one movie, and everybody
just
had like
freestyle.
a scene.
No,
You know
not
what I
much
mean?
of a script. Let's just make it
And then
happen.
I think, who was it? They held up, I think Ed Lover and Dr. J threw a party in a club, and y'all were performing.
Yeah,
And the club got robbed or something like that.
Yeah.
just
I
remember that. It was
vaguely
like,
remember that. Yo. I just did an interview and they were talking about Media Man. I said, man, I've never seen that movie a day in my life. I've never watched Who's the Man, you know? Nah. I think just when we were coming up, man, even till this day, I just put on the blinders, put in the work. Whatever happens on the outside, man, it just happens.
So the separation. Mm-hmm. Why and what happened? You know what I mean? That made y'all go, you know what I mean?
I think we were just growing into our own, you know. We come off the block together. And like I said, when we did the new style, we were fresh out of high school. We had been together since 16, 17 years old. Made the transition to Naughty by Nature in 1990. And by the time we got into like 95, you know, everyone was growing into their own. Treach started acting. KG started producing artists such as Janae, Next, Jaheim, you know. Mm-hmm. I was running all of the apparel. We had a clothing store. So people were coming into our own, and it's the classic shit like, you know, people pulling at you, family members, friends saying, oh, you don't need him. You don't need him. You could do this by yourself and all of that. So I just think all of those elements came into play. And, you know, years of just being up each other's butt all the time took its toll.
Got you. I mean, I think that, you know, it's crazy that all the people always have something to say when everything is bubbling. But when ain't nothing popping, nobody got nothing to say. Nobody cares about what you guys are doing until they start saying, hey, you know, your nephew was just on stage.
Right.
You know?
Or it's like this. It's like when you put together something and you're blessed to have that magic, then a lot of people think they could pick the elements apart and take it off and run with it and have the same success. So I think a lot of people found that out about us, that, listen, man, this is our blessing and it's not your blessing. So no matter what you do, you're not going to take Treach and make the same success that we had. Same thing for Kay, same thing for me. And I think I'm blessed in that sense that I've always sensed that from a lot of people around us. I'm looking and watching. Like, these people are tripping and bugging, you know? And then a lot of times they try to just make me out to be like I'm the least valuable. So I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand it. But we just let it all play out. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. And
Now, in the past, y'all have come to blows, right? Y'all
Yeah,
gotten
yeah,
busy,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Don't front. Jersey
We had to
boys
do
get
it.
busy. That I know.
we had to do it, you know? I think
What was the stupidest fight you and Treach ever had? Like, had to come to blows over. And then you realize y'all both were like, what did we just do?
Well, Treach and I, we got into it twice. But the first time there was a fight was actually with Kay and Treach. So Kay had left the group, and we did the TVT album in 2001, 2002. That was the record Feels Good with 3LW at the time.
Okay.
You know, so shout to Notori Norton. She's huge right now on Power. Shout to Adrian Bylon. Kay and Treach actually had the first fight around then, about 2001, 2002, because Treach was a bit pissed. Kay had left the group. And then once we got back together, right, Treach, he was just going through his thing, man. And I remember we were going to Australia, and we talked about our business before going to Australia. Things we had to take care of that the Australia run would take care of, you know? So when we get back from Australia, these are things that need to be paid, and we'll be good. So, of course, we had the meeting prior to leaving. And then when we got back, he didn't know anything. And it just got heated in there, and we were in our manager's office. So, honestly, the first time Treach and I had the fight, so we squared up, boom, 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 and he pulled a knife on me, yo. I had to get up out of there. And then, again, you know, the hood found out about it, and everybody was like, nah, this can't happen, yo. This cannot happen. So they pull us all together, sit us all down, you know, check all of that crazy energy, and we keep it moving. You know what I mean? And then actually the second time was maybe 2 years ago, you know what I mean? We did this ship hop cruise. And we worked the whole cruise, but we performed twice on the cruise. So I think it was the first day of the cruise, maybe the second day of the cruise, and we're out there, but it's a pop cruise, like Salt and Pepper, Vanilla Ice, Rob Bass, Biz Markie, Naughty by Nature, All for One, you know? So, you know, Treach is on stage during our set, he's cursing up a storm. Yeah.
He's drunk? He was saucy, right? Treach, I know you was saucy.
So after the show,
90s one of the cruises.
And we told him, we was like, yo, Treach, even Coolio said, yo, Treach gonna scare the shit out of all these white people out here, yo. So after the show, we were in the dressing room. We like, yo, Treach, man, like, all the cursing is unnecessary. This is like pop shit we doing out here. Yeah. What? You know what? I need to talk to you anyway. Blah, blah, blah. And we almost got into it then, but it got broken up. And then the last day of the cruise, you know, so we're running around entertaining everybody. Last day of the cruise, man, I'm going back to my room. Next thing I know, I see Treach on the elevator. Well, I was coming off the elevator. He was coming up the steps. So I guess he was still pissed at me about, you know, just mentioning the cursing on the first day. You motherfucker, boom, you know, and he snuck me, yeah. So at the end of the day, I end up sitting on his chest telling him, brother, I love you, man. We got to stop this. Whatever it takes, bro, I'll get on my knees, put my hand behind my back. You can just do you, bro, but we got to stop this. We get way too much money out here for this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I can imagine, you know, that audience is looking for Hip Hop Hooray and OPP, and he's like, dirty bastard.
Right.
He's doing all the wrong shit.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right. He's in the prison of his mind, you know? So it's like, you know, you gotta balance that, man. You gotta balance that. But all in all, man, we've had an incredible career.
Yeah,
you know?
still, you guys are still touring.
That's right. We have great underground records. We have great crossover records, man. To be honest, man, I don't have a complaint in the world. I don't think either one of us could have a complaint in the world because we see the work that we're doing. We see how we're moving out here, and we see how a lot of our peers are moving out here. And I get the calls and the texts and the inboxes like, yo, Vin, y'all killing it. Can we get some of that work y'all doing? And we like, yo, I mean, to be honest, a lot of this shit is pop, bruh, and y'all don't fit in that category. Yeah. But if we want to come down and do the urban shit and do all of that, we can rock out. But our big paper is doing that shit.
The pop shit, yeah, the 90s shit, the Hip Hop Hooray and the OPP.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And with that being said, man, we leave, May 2nd, the first date. We're about to knock out 57 arenas, man. Us, New Kids on the Block, Salt and Pepper, Tiffany and Debbie Gibson, yo.
How does that work? Salt and pepper, and they
Yeah.
Because that's a whole nother word.
Yeah, yeah.
Treach, you just in the middle of everything. You know what's funny about this group is that you've always been like kind of the technician of it. You've always focused on different things, and I think that that's why people don't appreciate. It's like I'm not a soccer fan, but I'll use the soccer analogy. You'll have the guy that scores the most goals, right?
Right.
And people will look at the person scoring as the best player on the team.
Right.
I never look at it that way. I always look at it that they're the most popular, and because you're scoring.
Right.
But it seems like in any game, the defender doesn't get that guy that blocks the goal down there.
Right.
That's you.
Right.
So that's why you guys work so well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
KG kind of orchestrates the music, and it kind of keeps you guys flowing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that Wu-Tang thing. You got this dude running this.
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
Boom, boom, boom,
and I look at it
as
that. I look at it as, I protect the brand the most because I understand what we have. I understand lightning doesn't strike but so many times.
Correct.
And you have to protect the brand. You got to protect the house. Because cats will come, they'll come and try to jack the house. They'll come and try to shoot up the house. They'll come and try to body the man at the gate, the security guard there. So you got to protect the house, man, and keep it rocking. But when it comes to Salt and Pepper, we're literal family, Treach and Pep, they were married. They have a daughter together, Egypt. Shout to Egypt. She's on Growing Up Hip Hop. So,
Yep.
She has her little narrative going. But when it comes to that, man, it's like we're family. Like, not industry family, but real blood family, us and Salt and Pepper. And actually, we have the same management right now.
Okay.
So, with Jimmy managing both groups and our relationship with Donnie Wahlberg from New Kids on the Block, that's kind of how Naughty and Salt and Pepper got added to this bill. And we're going to go out here and have a good pop time, man. If y'all want to come out the hood, I'm telling you all. You want to come out the hood and just live, get some of this pop life? Come see something different, man. It's a different world out there, yo.
So you did something, and you guys have always been involved in positive stuff. Roxanne Shante, big shout out to her. She's always involved in stuff in Jersey. You did something for autism.
Mm-hmm.
And I just recently interviewed your new artist, Leah. So what was that? How did that, is that something you just did because it's something right to do, or because there's a particular passion for that particular
Right. Well, what happened was, like you said, I've always been politically active, and the last two mayors we had in our hometown, I was on the transition team. So Lester Taylor was our mayor 4 years ago, and then our current mayor is Ted Green. So in these political atmospheres and just going to community events, I met a young lady, Nadine Wright, and she has an autism organization called Nason's Place. So they service inner city families affected by autism. Because you have organizations, huge national organizations like Autism Speaks, but what she explained to me is that a lot of the services they provide never trickle down to the hood. So she set up her own nonprofit and began servicing families in the hood affected by autism. So when I met her and I realized she was from East Orange, I locked in with her and was like, listen, man, anything you need from me, I'm there. And then we had just started working with Leah, and Leah had a song called Perfectly Imperfect. So I was like, you know what? Nadine does an annual autism walk in the park, and we have this song called Perfectly Imperfect, and it makes sense to rock out together. So we combined efforts, we shot the video, we supported her, raised a lot of money for her, and yeah, we still keep that moving. Still keep it moving, yeah.
That's dope, man. Cause you got and I meant to ask you guys, what made you say I'm gonna create some crossover music? Because that's what OPP was. I mean, it was like you created this music like Hip Hop Hooray, and you created OPP,
right?
And it's crossover, but it ain't completely sold out to the. And you guys still have always been able to maintain your street credibility,
right?
Where most artists couldn't really do that without some level of criticism. But I've never heard that about OPP. I mean, about Naughty by Nature. They still street, and this is why you get these pop things. So it's like you've achieved this thing that a lot of artists can't do. They know how to be middle ground and travel at?
But the thing is that it wasn't intentional. See, what you see on OPP or Hip Hop Array, those are call and response records. So all of that starts when we were the new style. So when we were the new style, we had no records playing on the radio. We had no videos playing. You know, it was just us, raw talent out here competing against everybody in these clubs. So our routines were always crowd interaction. We would say something, the crowd had to say it. Hey, hip hop has always been that way, you know what I mean? But once we started going in the studio, we translated what we did live on record. So when it came to OPP and all of the records we did, I mean, if you listen to our first album, we had joints called Yoke the Joker. We had Guard Your Grill. You know, we had Wickedest Man Alive, which was the B-side, and Queen Latifah. You know, these were our street records, but we considered everything we did was street. It's just that OPP was our party record. This is something we figured would work in a club and still have that crowd interaction. You know, with OPP, yeah, you know me. So when we recorded that, we knew nothing about crossing over. We knew nothing about a pop audience. It's just that was our interpretation of hip hop. So once Tommy Boy put it out and they marketed it, and it just started taking off, hey, it crossed over. And another reason is, hey, big up Ed Lover, you know, T Money and
wow, T Money.
Yeah,
Shout out to
yeah.
T Money.
You know,
Since
Ty
he's in my
One.
college parties.
That's right. Ty One. You know, they took OPP and spoofed it and made Down with MTV. So now MTV went from a station that wasn't playing black music at all, let alone wasn't playing hip hop. They started not only playing hip hop, but they took a hip hop song and made it their anthem. So when they flipped that record to Down with MTV, that campaign took off so crazy. And of course, MTV is a mainstream channel, and it just helped us cross over like that. So when you hear these party jams from Naughty by Nature, it's not an intentional effort to try and cross over. This is what we've been doing. We're like, this is what's going to get the crowd moving. This is what's going to get the club moving. You know what I mean?
Why do you think that Naughty by Nature stayed out? You know how there was always kind of beef here and there? Y'all never really had no beef that I remember in hip hop with any of the other groups. Like y'all never beefed with Wu-Tang. There was never no group beefs. There was never none. It's funny because y'all beefing with each other, but never nobody beefing with y'all. And I don't know if it's because of where you from in Jersey. Like, yo, I wasn't around, so I don't know when y'all came through. If y'all came through heavy Jersey deep, or it's just who y'all was. You know what I mean?
Trust me, bro. You can ask anybody. You can ask Wu-Tang. You can ask Puff. You can ask Big. You can ask Tupac. You can ask them all, man. We came right off the streets of Jersey, bruh. And from the new style, you know, our town is only 4 square miles, 70,000 people. These people always supported us since high school. So from the new style transition over to Naughty by Nature, once we popped off with Naughty by Nature, every time we roll, even till this day, every time we roll and it's a local crowd, like, we don't die, we multiply. So there's easily 100 people with us at all times, any given time. So when we first came out in the 90s, any problems there were, we checked it immediately. And, you know, we come up from the 80s when everybody rolled in posses and all that, especially in New York. You couldn't even come to New York if you was from Jersey. You know, you'd get rolled out of the spot, any spot in Manhattan, any spot, you get rolled out. So we always rolled thick. We've always been respectful, but, you know, we commanded respect as well. So I think we checked a few situations early in the game, and when Naughty shows up, it's like virtually impossible to fuck with us, period.
I hear that. Let me, and while we still on this street vibe, so a lot of artists seem to think that the battle rapping is the way to go to get into the game. And I can appreciate, because I know a lot of the battle rappers and stuff like that.
Battle rapping or diss rapping?
No, battle rapping. Okay. What do you think? What are your thoughts behind the battle rapping? I mean, I can appreciate the arenas they've created and all that.
Yeah.
But some artists sometimes think that I'm going to be a battle rapper and then become an artist. What do you think about that?
Well, I think, for one, you know, I had a chance to work with the UW Network. And, you know, when I worked with them, there was an epic battle put on Loaded Lux versus Hollow the Don. And at the time, that was a huge battle. That was one of the most anticipated battles. So for one, you know, coming from the recording and the performance side versus the battle rap community, those guys are incredible, man. I can't imagine how they put all of that together in their head, dissect these guys, and you got to go these rounds and remember all of this in the heat of the moment. So for one, I have the utmost respect for the whole battle rap community. As a matter of fact, rest in peace, the Tech Nine. He's one of the guys out there who just passed away, you know. And traditionally, for one, a lot of the battle rap guys never pursued recording contracts, you know? So they stayed in that circuit and they got their props with that. But I think at a certain point, you know, the battle rap community or that arena hit a wall where the artists wanted more money from the promoters. And then once they understood that they're getting millions of views on YouTube and have an international audience, at some point it should translate into a legitimate recording career, you know? So I think a lot of the guys, just the veteran guys, started pursuing an actual recording career. And it is a struggle with that because a lot of people think, you can only battle rap, but you can't really make songs. So a lot of those guys are fighting that transition. And I've never really heard of artists wanting to go the other route. You know, I want to be a battle rapper and transition into a commercial artist, because I see guys like Blueface. He said, I just started rhyming last week and I'm rhyming off key. Everybody's telling me I'm rhyming, you know, out of pocket. And it's these kinds of guys. It's just like, well, I feel like I want to rap. And then a year you popping with a hit single. So I've never heard a guy want to just be a battle rapper and then transition back into being a recording artist. So big up all the battle rap community, man. Got utmost respect for those guys.
Yo, we probably could keep this up, but yo, I know you got stuff to do. You got tours to put together. You got that merch. I know you got to send me a couple of sweaters.
Yeah,
you know
definitely.
Yeah, I need some from my closet. You know?
I got, you know what?
Ramo got a bunch of sweaters and he's like, got my naughty joint,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Nah, but I'm going to put y'all up on something that I may be jumping the gun a little, but this deal is basically done. Look out this summer. We just cut a deal with Major League Baseball, an apparel deal, right? The entire league will be by nature. Mets by nature, Yankees by nature, Dodgers by nature, Cardinals, Red Sox by nature. Every team in the entire league will have their logo by nature tees. They will be sold over fanatics.com, in stadium at all the baseball stadiums, pass through naughtybynature.com, going to Fanatics.
About to cake
and it'll
off.
be some of this stuff on this New Kids tour.
Damn, you hiring, man?
Yeah, exactly.
All this radio stuff, man. To rock with you, man. Need somebody to hold your bag? Yes, sir. No, sir. What you need?
Had to sell that merch, right?
That merch, kid.
Turn it over.
Well, yo, man, listen, man, before we get out of here, please tell everybody the handles that they can get you on, and, you know, your hashtags, your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your Twitters. Let the audience know how they can get at you.
Well, basically everything is Naughty by Nature. So on Twitter, at Naughty by Nature. On Instagram, at Naughty by Nature, #4ever. And just go to naughtybynature.com. All of our stuff is there. We're centralized. We make it easy, baby.
Naughty by Nature, my man Vin Rock in the building, man. Thanks for coming out, man.
Peace,
Appreciate
peace.
you. All right.